So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Joseph Grieco with Auxiluim. So excited to have the Sonya Deville, Daria Berenato. Thank you so much for taking the time to get on this call with us. How's everything going in Florida tonight?
It's good. It's sunny. It's warm. I'm not complaining. What's going
Oh.
on, stranger? It's so funny. I feel like it's been forever. When's the last time I saw you? Like seventh grade?
It was seventh grade back in good old Indian Mills Memorial Middle School. Absolutely
Wow.
crazy how long it's been.
What a throwback.
It is. It's absolutely amazing too to think back at all those years ago and then watch you grow and blossom into the superstar you are. You know, it's
I
just it's
think we,
super inspirational.
I, Joe, I think we even dated when I was like 12, when we were like 12 or something.
We actually did, and
You
I
did, right?
remember it's crazy. I do remember that.
Oh, it's so funny.
Little confession, you were my first girlfriend, so
I was your first girlfriend?
you're my first girlfriend, yes.
Oh my God, that's so fun. Were you my first boyfriend, or did I already date Declan at that point?
You did a Declan right before, like kind of like before when we were younger,
Okay,
like I think it was like
okay.
fifth, sixth grade, and then we
Got it.
dated in seventh, going into eighth. So it was
That's so funny. Oh
yes,
my
it's pretty
God.
little confession there, some story time for
Yeah,
sure.
right?
Yes. So I wanted to start with a little quote. I kind of like sharing quotes on the daily, on the Instagram, the Facebook feed. The goal is to inspire people, obviously be inspired with you and people listening to this to have the flames of their motivation be bellowed and to instill them to be themselves and embrace their gifts and what they want to accomplish in life. And that's part of the other reason why I wanted to talk to you on here and have you share yours because you're a huge inspiration to me and so many people around the world. And I know that hearing it from someone who is on the top, right? It inspires other people coming from someone as humble and honest and straight as you are. So that's my main reason for bringing you onto this talk. And the quote I wanted to go with was by Socrates. He says, "All I know is that I know nothing." And that's kind of like how I go about on the daily is always being coachable and looking at life as being so full of new things to learn. And you can't be full of yourself or walk around as a cup that's full because you'll never learn anything. And there's just so much out there. And that's what I hope.
I love that quote. I
Isn't
love
it?
that.
He's so good. He's an old guy, but
No, it's incredible and it's so true. And as we go through the questions, I'm sure part of my story will come out, but a testament to a lot of the things that I've accomplished in life are being open-minded and never saying never to anything and never feeling like anything is, beneath me. You know what I mean? Like just taking every opportunity that came my way, not knowing where it would lead me. So yeah, that's awesome.
No, I love that. Never say never. I go through your Instagram. I see some absolutely amazing things you've said, written. And I'm going to bring some of them up, obviously, but I just kind of love how inspiring you are. You kind of like naturally have that gift.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet.
You're welcome. You're
I
welcome.
try. I feel like when you're blessed with, a social or public platform, I feel like it's almost a responsibility to, have a strong voice and to stand up for what you believe in. And so that's what I've been able to do the last 5 years with WWE is express myself and become more comfortable with myself while also hopefully inspiring others to do the same. So
I think you've certainly accomplished that goal among so many others, and I find that extremely admirable because a lot of a
thank
lot
you.
of people in the spotlight kind of don't do that. They don't emanate that positivity and don't reach down and actually help and inspire people the way that you would want them to. So it's definitely a huge blessing to have some sunlight coming from you and just changing people's lives, with everything you say, do, and just your overall persona. So it's definitely electric. So keep all that going on, and
Thank you.
definitely love following along and watching everything you do. So, get with the questions without further ado. The first one is kind of what we were talking about before. We had some catch up there. I remember hanging out when we were back in IMMS, back in Shamong, and you're such an inspiration now. Like you said, a superstar. You inspire everyone. And there's just something kind of special, though, for those of us who knew you back then, before Sonya Deville ever came to be. So tell me what that's been like for you to look back on little old Shamong, southern New Jersey, now living down in Florida. You know, you're this rock star, you're an icon for the LGBTQ community. You're just an overall badass. So like explain that feeling and that sensation coming back from the roots to where you are now.
Yeah, it's such a loaded question. It's like I look back on Shamong with like such happy, positive memories. I'm so proud to be from such a small, quaint town where, you know, I was surrounded by a lot of really great people. You know, growing up in Shamong, we rode dirt bikes and quads and went four-wheel mudding in the woods. And, you know, it was such an outdoors, small town lifestyle. We rode our bikes to the local Wawa because it was the only store in town. And that was kind of our hangout. And I remember we used to actually ride bikes together. You mentioned it earlier. Me, you, and Madison. How funny thinking back on that. But there was always a part of me that felt like I just always wanted to do big things, whether it was be an actress or fight MMA in my later years of high school was like my biggest dream. And I just wanted to do something larger than life. I always liked to perform. I was always kind of bad in school. If you remember, I was like class clown, always getting in trouble.
Hey, you made people smile and laugh. It's the best medicine in life. So
I tried. I tried. And so I just, you know, I never was one for structure or order in terms of schooling. And, you know, I tried college for like 3 weeks maybe in South Florida, where I originally moved to train MMA with American Top Team, one of the best fight camps in the world.
wow.
And so I went to the local state college, Palm Beach State, for like 3 weeks. And I remember sitting in like a history lecture class, just doodling on my notepad, being like, this is not for me. This is not my path. This is not what I was meant to do.
Right.
And whatever that was inside me was so sure of herself. I was so confident that I was going to be something else. I was going to be an MMA fighter. I was going to be an actress. I was going to be on TV. I was going to be in front of the spotlight because that's what I truly loved. I loved performing. I loved being under the spotlight. And so I was like, I need to do whatever that is and I need to chase it. And so I started waitressing and bartending to make money and support my, you know, MMA schooling. And then I was like, you know what? Well, if I want to act and do MMA, I was only getting background work in Miami because down in South Florida, there's not too much production going on. I was like, I need to move to New York. So I packed up my things. I moved to New York, and I lived in Hoboken, right outside of New York. And
okay.
I produced my first independent film living there. I found a script with a director in South Jersey, actually, and he sent me over 4 or 5 scripts to read. And he was like, "Do you want to produce any of these?" And I read them all, and one stood out amongst the pack. It was a LGBTQ film. I was not open at the time. I was not even out. I was dating men still at this point. And I read the script, and it was a story about 2 women, young women, who fell in love and their parents weren't accepting of their love. And so it's this really dramatic story. You know, it has to do with religion and so many other aspects of life come into it. And it was just a really beautiful story. And so I wanted art to imitate life. I wanted to make this film in hopes of being able to subliminally tell everybody around me, hey, I'm gay. But it was much more subconscious than that at the time. But looking back, hindsight's always 20/20, and that's what I was trying to do with it. And so I made the film. I was the lead, and then the girl that I cast to be the opposite girlfriend for the next 3 years, and we moved to LA together and both out there chasing our dreams. And it's been a crazy 10 years since I graduated high school. And so I lived in LA for like 3 years. She was trying to act. Cali's the best. I love it out there. And so, yeah, I was just trying to act. I was trying to fight full time and train. And I just wanted to make it. And so one day I was bartending And one of my regulars was like, don't you do that UFC stuff? And I was like, yeah, I fight MMA. And he's like, oh, well, there's this series of after shows called AfterBuzz TV, and it's owned by Maria Menounos, who's, the host of E! News. And, they hire a bunch of young kids in LA that are looking to get on camera work, and you go in and you host these after shows on whatever television shows on TV. So they were looking for a host for the UFC show. And so I was like, oh, I'd love to do that. And so I tried out and I got the thing, and it was, it was non-paying. It's just for experience and, work for your reel. And I was like, absolutely. So I started doing that, and I met Maria like maybe 3 months into the gig, and I went in her office and I kind of pitched this creative idea I had to her at the time. And she was like, I really like your energy. She's like, anything that me and my husband, Kevin, can do to help you, we want to help you because we really believe in you. And so like 6 months later, I got a phone call from Kevin, her husband. He was like, I know you love MMA. He had come to my last MMA fight, actually. It was really funny. And he's like, but what do you think about WWE? And I was like, well, I don't really know much about it. Why? And he's like, they asked Maria to be on the reality show Tough Enough, which is a competition show, and the winners get a contract into WWE. But Maria's like, I'm too old for that shit. Like, no, but I have the perfect girl. And we had you in mind. And he's like, so what do you think? And I was like, well, hell yeah, let's do it. I mean, I was always game for anything, anything
Amazing.
that had that was positive, and it was a competition show. I'm a lifelong athlete. Like it was a perfect match. And Kevin was shocked. I remember he was like, oh, I thought you were going to say no. I thought you were, you would never want to leave MMA. And I was like, listen, I love MMA and I have no intentions on leaving it. But if this opportunity could lead to something greater or lead to something that is equally as fulfilling for me, then I would never say no. So I went to the tryout. Long story short, I ended up getting on the show, getting eliminated, and then ended up getting hired by the company anyway. So I had stumbled upon this hidden gem of a world that I didn't know existed at the time that was a perfect culmination of the two things that I loved most in life: competing and performing. And so the last 5 years have consisted of basically just living my dream.
That is amazing. It's kind of like, so I read a lot of books, I write books obviously, and
right,
inspiring people. So one of the things that really spoke to me, one of the books I read was by Napoleon Hill, and I kind of adopted his theory of autosuggestion and created this theory of like the I am theory. And so every morning I wrote down things like things I want to be in my dreams, things I want to accomplish. And when that resonated a lot with me in the beginning, when you said that you knew what you wanted to do and you kind of like believed it inside with every cell inside you, and it just kind of happened. It responded to the way you believed it. You believed you can do it. You knew you can do it. You knew you wanted to do it. And it's like almost everything conspired with you to go do it. And you can plant 100 seeds, but until you water them and till the ground, you make it a fertile environment, nothing's going to grow. But you combine both those things and you put in the work and you combine passion, you got progress. And not only progress, you got overflowing success. So it's just a huge inspiration, so refreshing to hear, someone I know from years ago, from a place, where we were just kids, right? So now looking at you and hearing that, so invigorating. It just gives me the spirit listening that you could just, I can do it. I can do this.
Absolutely. And that mindset, like you just explained, it's like the power of what you say is what you get, and what you believe is what you get. Like what we put out into the universe is what we will receive. And I'm such a firm believer on that, because of course I had doubts. I'm not saying that I was this Uber boulevard where I was like, what am I doing? Maybe I should have gone to school. Maybe I should be behind a desk making maybe a better salary. Like, doubts overflowed me at times. But what was more powerful than the doubt was the self-belief and the inability to settle, because I knew that when you put your mind to something, anything is possible. And that's kind of a testament to my journey in life, because, in in middle school, for example, this is a great example. 3 years in a row, I didn't make the basketball team. 3 years in a row. It was 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. I got cut from the team. And freshman year of high school came around. I mean, if I can't make the middle school team, why the hell would I be able to make the high school team,
Right,
right?
that mindset, yeah.
But I tried out, but I tried out anyway, and I made the high school team my freshman year. And so my life story is, I've always been the underdog, and I've always been, you know, the little engine that could kind of story. And so knowing that, and knowing that in the end, I always came out on top, I had that faith in myself, even though my dad hated my choice of, career choice. He didn't want his little girl fighting MMA. He didn't want me traveling the world by myself trying to be an actress. Like, parents always want what they think is best for their children.
Yeah,
My dad didn't see the big picture, And so now my dad follows me around to every match in every city, and he's obsessed with my career. It's a full circle kind of story because he's a great guy. He's a great guy. And he, he just wanted what was best for me, but he didn't believe in it. So I had to believe in myself because nobody else. Joe.
Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, this Italian reception is not the best.
No worries.
You hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. So you were saying about your dad.
Oh yeah, I was just saying it's one of those full circle life moments where, he wasn't a believer, so I had no choice but to believe in myself, because if other people aren't gonna, then what you're left with is what's inside your own head and what's inside your own mind. And so I was able to prove to myself and everyone else what I was capable of. And now he's my biggest supporter. He comes to every fight, every match, and he just loves what I do now. But
that's powerful. I mean, that support system is everything, but we have to be our own support system too, which is what you said. We got to be our own number one fan. And one of the quotes, like I said earlier, that I love that you put out, I even shared it the other day, is when you say, be a fan of you, be a fan of yourself. And that's so powerful, because before we can even appreciate, the love and adoration from other people, we have to first love ourselves. Like on an airplane, you got to put the mask on you before you can help anyone else. It's survival. So that self-love is amazing.
100%.
So you kind of shared back in Florida when you kind of got peaked with WWE. So is that the point when you really stopped and realized, like, okay, I'm about to make it big. Like, this is all these dreams, all these things I was growing in myself and working towards is really coming to, and it's just about to take off and explode.
Yeah, I was living in Los Angeles at the time when I got signed with WWE, and I just remember being offered my first contract. And when you're in developmental of WWE, you get paid well, but it's nothing crazy at first. And I remember being like, oh my God, I'm going to get paid consistently to work out and train wrestling every day. This is the best life ever. And I didn't even care about the dollar amount. I was just so excited to be able to provide for myself consistently and comfortably for the first time in my life while living my dream. And I knew that was just the beginning of what has now become obviously a really rewarding career.
No, that is amazing. That's amazing. So LA in the beginning, then it took you to Florida. So you kind of have been all over the place. I lived in both those places, so I love both states with passion. They're pretty great.
It was crazy. So it was Shamong, New Jersey, to Florida, to New York, to LA, to Orlando, then to Fort Lauderdale, and now I'm finally in Tampa. So it's been a wild ride.
That's crazy. We kind of followed a similar trajectory, because I was in Pensacola, though, in Destin area. And then from there, it was nice. From there, I went to San Diego. I know we spoke when I was there. You came and a lot of your guys from the WWE came to our command actually, and talked to
Yes.
us and really fired us up. So that was really awesome. We still have your this WWE sign hanging in the hangar bay. It's pretty awesome there.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. So if you can give one piece of advice to like anyone who's pursuing his or her dreams, but is afraid, you know, you had that tenacity and the courage to be who you are and to pursue what you want, your dreams. But there's a lot of people out there who are more timid about it, right? They're not as good on the self-love. They're feeling down, like I'll never be able to accomplish this. This mountain's too tall to climb. What would you tell them to inspire them to go do it?
I would say this answer is twofold. I would say, first of all, things aren't going to fall in your lap. Your dreams aren't going to just hit you over the head. And that being said, you have to go out and find them and chase them. But the power of believing in yourself is the strongest thing in the world. And trust me, I don't think anybody in Indian Mills Elementary School would have been like, oh yeah, Daria is definitely going to be on TV one day. And, you know, in a prosperous career of professional wrestling. I don't think that's what they would have said. So do not let doubt seep in. You know what you're capable of more than anybody else. And it's so important to trust yourself and love yourself. And you just can't settle. We have one life to live. You have one life to live. You cannot live it settling. If your dream is to travel the world like you do, Joe, you need to travel the world. If your dream is to be on TV, then you need to get yourself on TV, and
Absolutely.
nothing is impossible.
Wow. I love that. I love that. You got me like all pumped up to go do a workout or something. I just got so much
Yeah,
fire
right?
going on talking to you. It's
Oh, you're
contagious,
so
Dad.
funny.
It's contagious.
It is.
No, I hope that, I mean, I know that's going to fire other people up too. Just kind of feel that going all over. And, you know, I'm a master trainer, nutritionist, so I love fitness, all about it. It's part of what my brand
You're
represents.
you're killing it. I look at your Instagram, I'm like, oh my God, you have just, I mean, you always had a good build and everything. You were always in shape, but like you've transformed your body into a machine. You look great.
Ankite, you as well. You've always been to. I remember those middle school pool parties we all went to.
I always had the abs, right?
Exactly. Everyone was all like, I want to have those, damn it. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Uh,
little genetics, a little hard work.
it's the Italian genes, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
so you're on the cover of Train magazine. I saw that, looking, you know, just this beautiful badass on there. You're obviously extremely passionate about fitness, like we said. Ever since I've known you, you've been there with sports and just in general. And then you went with MMA and on from there. So it's obviously a vital aspect of your life and to accomplishing your goals. So what inspires you every day to get up and be like, all right, I'm gonna work out today. I'm gonna stick to this routine and keep at it.
Yeah, fitness, physical activity in general is like the key to my life, not just physically and career oriented, but mentally specifically. So working out and training has been it's just been so key to my mental health and physical health for the last 10 years in getting me where I am. And it's the one constant in my life. So many things have come and gone. Career paths have changed. uh, where I live has changed 15 times in the last 10 years, but the one constant in my life has always been training. And it makes me feel like a normal person when everything else feels chaotic and so many uncertainties are in life. It was the one thing that I could always have control over was my health and my fitness. So it's literally, I credit a lot of my success to that, and I don't know what I would do without it. 2 weeks into quarantine, I built a home gym from scratch because I was like, I need to lift, you know, I need to have my regiment still intact. So to anybody out there that's dealing with mental health issues or just, you know, down in the dumps or not feeling good about themselves, I am going to tell you from experience, the first few weeks will be hard and they will feel pointless, but consistency is key. and your mental health will flourish from working out. It's science, but it's also, I just know from experience as well. So yeah, waking up every day, what I tell myself is, look how much it's helped me, look where it's gotten me. And I just love the routine and the regiment of getting up every day and making sure that, and some days it's not always lifting. Some days I ride my bike and then I swim in my pool. Some days I go for a jog around the neighborhood if I'm not feeling like lifting. It's not always the same thing over and over again, because I would get bored, because I always need something, new and different. But
Break the monotony up,
just,
yeah.
yeah, right. But just staying healthy and staying fit is so good for the mental health. And I highly recommend anyone who's not in the gym to get in there, and it'll help with a lot of things. I think you'll be surprised.
No, that's amazing. I read what you said. I mean, I think we can all agree you should be writing one of those books as well. But he wrote "Practice Makes the Master," and it kind of goes two and two with what you just said, where consistency, is the key, just sticking to
Yep.
it, and then self-reflection, looking back at what worked. It's kind of like definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and thinking and expecting different results. It can also work in a positive way, where we look back at, well, I did A and B and got C, which is the results I want. So therefore you keep the equation the same and you keep getting positive results, which is,
yes,
it's definitely powerful. Routines are so important. So next question.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh no, sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say, yeah, it's so important. It's like you said, though, growth is like a key factor in life too. So it's important to constantly be looking for ways to evolve, because we can't just run, 1 mile around the same block every single day, expecting to build more muscle mass or to lean out. You know what I mean? Like, it's important to grow based on what kind of results you want, and, what kind of goals you're attempting to acquire. So yeah, that's really important.
No, that's amazing. I encourage everyone to go check out your Instagram, because I do remember when you were putting that equipment together. I remember I reached out to you, and I was a little envious as well, because like I have equipment, but I don't have the machines and all the good stuff. Because here in Italy, it's hard to come by, all the good workout equipment. So
Yeah, I
there's such
bet.
awesome pictures with your fitness. So I love seeing all that and the fighting. I box, but I admire the MMA and the martial arts that you do. It's awesome. It's real cool stuff. And you make it look easy too.
Thank
So I'm
you.
like, she's like
No.
graceful. Jeez.
God.
It's like the hardest thing in the world. She's making it like, it's an absolute art, and you've mastered it. So it's incredible to watch it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So now I want you to kind of take us walking onto that stage. Your name's behind you. Hear people screaming. It's just this electric moment. What does that feel like? Describe that moment for us.
Oh God. It's honestly, that's like what I live for. I love, it's an adrenaline rush. It's so exhilarating to be able to perform in front of people who either are booing because they hate you or screaming because they love you. I don't care which it is. I bring on both of them, and I love them both. Whether I'm the good guy or the bad guy, it doesn't matter to me. I just love to hear the fans interaction. And that's what's so cool about WWE is it's so interactive, and the fans are so into it, and it just makes everything feel like you're doing something. It feels
Amazing.
intense. I live for the intensity and the passion that our fans have. And so I try to give it back to them by my performance in the ring every night. And yeah, it's just, I live for that rush. It just feels so, just feels like I'm where I'm supposed to be in life.
That's amazing. I think that's what's it. That's life right there. That's the point where everyone, I think, wants to get. And it's different for everybody, but I just imagine that moment. And some people like take it in a different way, where they're just like, oh, there's a different aspect to it, where the way you take it is so more, it's more motivating, because you appreciate the fans, because they're there for you, whether they're booing, like you said, booing or cheering you on. They're engaged. They're loving the content. They're loving the fights. They're loving everything about it, which is It's so amazing. Like, write a book, you love people reading it. So you're performing, you're fighting, and people are loving every minute of it. So it's just intoxicating. I love that.
Yeah, it's like that rush, you know, that feeling for
I
sure.
know I'd be nervous. A little bit,
The
a little bit of stage
nerves
fright
go,
at times.
they don't go away, but they subside, you know. It's like that. It's like you have a task at hand, you have a goal, you have to go out there and get it done regardless of whatever's going on around you. So it's fun to kind of channel the energy and
Oh
use
yeah,
it to fuel you, not to fear you, you know.
I love that. Amen. Absolutely. Man, all these quotes you've thrown out there, I'm like writing them down, taking notes.
That's
So
funny.
speaking of quotes, you once said, "Sometimes to stay alive, you got to kill your mind." So when you wrote that or you said that, I want you to tell me what that had to do with your career and your mindset. What did you have to kill in your mind when you came up with this?
It's people are so accustomed to over analyzing themselves and being overcritical and overthinking, and I am, trust me, very guilty of that sometimes. But the negative has to be, you have to take the power out of the negative and put the power in the positive, because if we listen to all the doubt in our mind, we wouldn't be able to live. You know, we wouldn't, if, you know, when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I look ugly, I'm not going to go to the grocery store. You know, if you listen to every negative thought that comes into your mind, you would not be able to survive. And so that's a very extreme example. But if you look at the subtleties of that happening in our daily lives, that's what causes people to stay in the, you know, the kind of ruts that they're in, or to not evolve to the next level of where they want to get, because fear can overtake desire and passion and will. So I think it's really important to acknowledge the doubt. I'm not saying to ignore it and shut it off and put it in a box, because it's very hard to do, but acknowledge it, understand it, and realize that it's the enemy, and that
Hmm.
we are capable of so much more than what we could even imagine. Um, and just never limit your dreams, because they're limitless. If you would have told me at 14 you're going to be on TV wrestling in front of 80,000 people at WrestleMania, you know, I would have been like, okay. Yeah, I mean, shit, I have dreams, but they ain't that big. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But to be honest, but as you grow and as you prove to yourself what you're actually capable of, when you have the guts and the balls to go out there and try new things. So don't limit yourself to what your mind is telling you can or can't do. You kind of have to fight fate on that a little bit, and have that willpower and the courage to go out there and see what the world has to offer.
Absolutely. Given the battle words there. No, I definitely absolutely agree with that. And I take that quote to heart too, because I had to kill those doubts and things in my own mind, things I've went through in life. And I kind of used, took me a while, but eventually used pain as a portal to kind of push me towards progressing to a life that I wanted, which is like travel, publishing a book, being a coach to help other people. So I can absolutely relate to the killing the
That's
doubt. You know what
incredible.
I mean? You gotta kill the doubt. You
Yeah,
gotta, like you said, you gotta be a fan of
you
you,
have to.
keep pushing, keep pressing on, and just kick ass every minute of every day. And that's obviously what you do. And you have
Absolutely.
bad days, but you just like you. I love the metaphor, you like the Thomas the Train metaphor. You just, I think I can, I think I can, and you just eventually
Yeah.
you keep thinking you can, you will. You know, it's just it's powerful.
What we say is what we become, and it's such a true statement. And Maria Menounos, who's like a mentor to me, strongly believes in that kind of stuff, in spirituality, and like what we think is what we are, and it's so true. um so it's really important to have positive thoughts, and you know, whether it's daily meditation, which I'm a big fan of, or just daily affirmation, or you know, even the YouTube videos are great to listen to in the morning, the positivity stuff, and just to remind yourself daily, like you can do anything, literally the world is our oyster. Like we can do anything we want with it. We limit ourselves. Nobody else can limit us.
That's amazing. Man, I'm getting fired up again. Jeez.
Sorry.
No, it's awesome you said that too, because not almost every morning I listen to YouTube videos, but almost every morning, you know, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson's on one of those videos. And growing up, he's always been like my inspiration and favorite wrestler. But just now, his success and his heart to help other people and just inspire and motivate, like I can relate. And that's what I want to do. And you've wrestled with the greats. I just watched the movie not too long ago with Paige in it, right? So you were with her, you fought by her side, you're walking on the ground with the other legends, and even yourself, you're a legend. I might be biased because I know you, but everyone I think can agree among your fans. But what is that like to stand where and be one of those powerful and influential men and women?
I mean, it's incredible. Dwayne is one of the most humble, easiest guys to talk to. Every time I've shook his hand and said hi and passing backstage and stuff, he's just been so incredible. John Cena is the exact same way. John Cena was actually he would give me feedback on all my matches when I was on the road with him. I would go up to him after and I'd be like, hey, do you got anything? And he would sit down for 5 or 10 minutes and give me all the feedback I wanted, and was so helpful in, believing in me and trying to help. So, and Paige was incredible to work with. Just her confidence and her charisma in the ring and on the microphone is so just impressive. And so it's been incredible. And I'm just so blessed to be around so many talented people and being around that atmosphere. I always say, like, who you hang out with is who you are, and it's
right.
Your parents tell you that growing up, and you're kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. But it's really true. If you surround yourself with like-minded, positive, powerful people, you become that because you want to be that, and it's just good energy all around. And so it's amazing to be in an environment, in a locker room with so many talented, powerful women and men that just want to take over the world. So that's something I've recently started getting into is acting again and trying to follow in the footsteps of Dwayne and The Rock and John Cena.
That is so incredible. We all have to have mentors, and you saying these names, it's just amazing because, I know you. So it's like you're talking, you're shaking hands with and spending time and taking advice from these people that I've seen on movies or only in videos. And I've always aspired to, just fucking like stand there and ask them one question. But they share openly, like you said. They're so humble, and they're on the videos, given the free motivation, and just they're feeling the reward and the benefit by helping people like me and you, and all these people grow from other people, and people are growing from you and what you're delivering. And there is no limit. Like you said, we're limitless, and that's proven by you. So there's no doubt that you're going to be in the movies and be watching you, and I'm going to be screaming in the theater, hey, we dated in 7th grade. No, that's so amazing. Wow.
Thank you.
I remember it's so incredible. And so watching some of your fights is kind of a fun question. The elevator. That's my favorite move that you do. But I mean, I'm kind of curious, when you're in the ring, you're like, your adrenaline's rushing. What's your all-time favorite thing to do in a fight?
I love a good double leg.
Very nice.
So it's similar to the spear, but I do it a little bit different. I kind of cut the corner on the side, like amateur wrestling style. But I love a good double leg. I remember in the Elimination Chamber match, I think I gave to Bailey. I think I double legged Bailey. It was a pretty cool one. I came running around the corner of the chamber and took her out. So yeah, I think that maybe a head kick are my two favorites.
That's amazing. Yeah, I like them all. I mean, it's just one of those moments where you're just hanging out with the guys and you're watching, you just get fired up and you like lay someone out.
yeah, for sure.
It's pretty great. It's awesome. So overall, with all your success combined, What is your favorite part? Is it being able to look back and help your friends and family? Is it in the ring? What's the all-time favorite thing for you?
Oof.
That's a really tough question. You don't have to name just
Okay,
one, just your tops. Yeah.
I have two. I have a few answers. First is being blessed with, like I said, the social and the public platform to have a voice and to make changes. I know when I was younger, living in Shamong, New Jersey, I always looked for representation on television because there wasn't much representation in my small town. And so I look to be that for other people. And I think that's really rewarding for me as someone who was in those shoes to be that for somebody else. Um, Two, obviously to be able to, help my family and make them proud. And then the third would be my own self-worth.
Hmm.
It's really rewarding and fulfilling to me to be able to have a dream, say I'm going to do something, 11, 12 years ago, and to be sitting here today being able to say, wow, I did it, so just that self-love that it doesn't always come from the same thing. Like everyone gets it from somewhere else, but with me, it's a lot of it is my following my dreams and my career, and saying I'm going to do something and being able to make it happen is super cool for me to look back on. So yeah, it's kind of like a threefold answer, but
No, that's a perfect response. No, I mean that's incredible to be able to have all those things. And the one for that probably is the most powerful is it goes back to the self one, because that's the one that keeps everything going. That just because you're still
right.
able to fuel the other streams that you mentioned. You still keep helping your family by bettering yourself and continuing to go up, because there's no doubt, you're still climbing. So because there's no limit to what you're going to accomplish. And it's just, I'm really looking forward to continuing to watch your success. That's going to be
Thank you.
amazing.
Yes, never
Yeah.
never ending. You can
Never
never
ending.
stop growing.
That's the best part about it too. You're building that legacy. And speaking of
Trying.
legacies, you have a lot of brands. My favorite is Put Your Hair Up and Square Up. You got like Fire and Desire, Heavy Heart, Rainbow Love, Never Alone. Which one means the most to you, and why?
So, put your hair up and square up was like my first catchphrase when I came into WWE. I thought of it when I was still in developmental. I was like, oh my God, that is going to be my catchphrase one day, because it perfectly embodies who I am. I'm like, I'm a doer. I'm a get your hands dirty, let's kick some ass kind of girl. And so put your hair up and square up like perfectly encompasses who I am. And so I loved that. So that's like my baby because it was number one. And then um, Rainbow Love is a new clothing line that I just came out with a few months ago. And that one is so special to me because, like I said, when I was younger, I looked for representation in the public eye and, everywhere. If I would have seen LGBTQ forward clothing when I was young, wow, what that would have meant to me as a closeted, gay woman. So I think it's so important to have that inclusivity, whether it be in apparel or uh, on TV, or like I said, in all avenues of life. So that was something that was really cool for me. And not only to be a part of something like that, but to create something like that. So I would say, yeah, that's my baby right now. And definitely was really special to me.
That's amazing. And it's definitely a tree that's bearing the fruit that you wanted to. So that's the best part too. You can see people,
Yes.
I see you posting about your fans wearing your shirts, and your response to them is really how it's changing and motivating them and invigorating that self-confidence and that self-love. And that's the kind of brand that people want to stand behind. The kind that's not really about like, oh, this looks fabulous. It's just more like, I'm wearing this because of what it represents and because it looks badass.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
absolutely. And that's one of our first shirts. It's the You Are Not Alone shirt, and it has the suicide prevention hotline on the back of it, which I think is and it's in big, bold rainbow lettering. So it's just such a strong message. It's like, I'm not afraid to rock this. I'm not afraid to be down. I'm not afraid to admit that I need help sometimes, like we all do. And
Absolutely.
it's okay to ask for help. You know, it's okay to not be okay.
No, that's powerful. And being around military, you know, it's sad to say we have a very too high of a suicide rate. A lot of people struggling with different things, and having that out there has been, and things such as that, it's been such a great hand to help people that in this
Yeah.
community, people like sacrificing their life to serve, to save them. You know, it really is a life raft that pulls them out from places that people can only imagine. It's everyone fights their own battles, so people need people
You
like
guys are
you.
incredible, by the way, Joe. I can't just glaze over that. What I being part of the service, and yeah, I'm just so proud of you, and it's just so
Oh,
incredible to
thank you,
see
thank you.
your strength and what you've made out of the last decade of your life is just, it's really admirable.
I appreciate that support, and it definitely means the world coming from you. So I'm equally as proud of you. Words
Thanks,
can't really
Joe.
be caged to fully describe that. So, all right. So the next kind of quote, kind of downtone a little bit. This one says, "They told me to wash away the pain. I told them I wouldn't know what to do if it never came." I absolutely love that.
Mm.
That's just such an amazing and true statement. And I'm just, when I read that, I saw, you know, it's an amazing picture it's with, but where in your heart and life is this really coming from? Because I know in my own life, it's always been the bigger pains that led to the bigger portals to progress. And there's always a lesson when we struggle. It's a doorway. We can just, a lot of times, it's like a door in an open field, you know, where we're just crouched behind it. And all we need to do is stand up and walk around it and realize that we were never really locked behind anything.
I mean, yeah, you just said it perfectly. It's always been important for me to embrace the pain because listen, at the end of the day, life's not going to be perfect. You're going to go through shit. You're going to have your ups and your downs. And if you can't take the pain, if you let it succumb you, then it's gonna affect the positive. It's gonna affect the happy. You know what I mean? So I've always been a firm believer of embracing it, accepting it, realizing why it's here and what it makes me feel. You know, it's okay to be emo some days and blast alternative music and
Of
be in your
course.
feels and cry all day because you know you're gonna wake up tomorrow, you're gonna feel better, and you're gonna take pain by the freaking horns and turn it into something great. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, but
Absolutely.
you have to go through the tunnels, you know, and that's just how life works. So I think and you know, if I ever have kids one day, like that's something that I want to raise them to understand. And it's not being dark, it's just being honest that you're going to feel down, you're going to get hurt. Life isn't always fair, but it's what you do with it. It's how you get back up. It's how many times you get back up that matters. And I always say, the judge of someone's character is not how they act on their best day. It's how they act on their worst day.
Wow.
And I live by that.
That's amazing. That's definitely a pillar right there to lean on. Jeez. That's
Yeah,
powerful.
I love that. I love that. You know, we all have shitty days. We're all going through shit in life. And I'm not saying you have to be perfect and you have to be hunky dory on your worst day. I get it. Things are painful, but you have to treat people right. And it's so important to, you know, treat people with respect, treat people how you want to be treated. And, you know, the judge of your character is how you treat someone on that worst day, not how anyone could be happy when life is going great, you know?
Exactly. It's almost easy. That's the golden rule, and just that's perfect. Maintaining the integrity of just character in general. Just something you
Yes.
100% do. So me and I'm sure I speak for every one of your fans. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing that every time you step in the ring, every time you post, you know, just everything you do, you just shed that. So it's just an amazing thing to be able to receive that from you. So huge thank
Thank
you.
you.
Grazie mille. A little Italian in there. All right, so the next question is kind of a fun one again. You got action figures. You know, I've seen you in video games. Absolute superstar. You're on Total Divas on E. You know, and I know a lot of people, including myself, keep a vision board or like a journal. We write our posts and we take pictures. Like when I travel, I love taking pictures, getting little souvenirs to kind of be expressions of my gratitude for having been able to do these things. What do you do as far as that goes? I know you kind of told us earlier, but do you have like a vision board? Do you write things out on the daily? What is it that you do to
Yeah,
segue that?
absolutely. So everything's in my notepad on my phone. I have like 9,000 notes. And it's ridiculous. And I have a very type A personality. I'm very organized. I'm very like anal about things like that. So I need things written down to make them happen. Like I need to see them daily. I check my notes. I'm like, I probably have like a little bit of like ridiculous OCD. Like I'll check my notepad like 35 times a day. I'll open it, look at what I have to do today. Then I'll scroll to the one that's like, you know, long-term goals or short-term goals. And I have all kinds of lists like that. You know, I remember when I was in NXT developmental of WWE, like, you know, my goal was to be on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. And, you know, I've done that. So to tag team with my best friend, Mandy, and we did that. So, you know, it's just certain things that I write down, and then I'll literally put a green check next to them when they happen. And it's just me being able to visually and literally see me checking off kind of things on my bucket list or just things that I want to accomplish in life is really important and vital to my success. You know, a goal of mine right now in the future, in the next 5 to 10 years, is to write a book and to be in my first feature-length film. And, you know, a lot of stuff like that I have written down. I won't share all the secrets with you, but yeah, I have a lot of goals in the future. I remember one from like 3 years ago was to make Demandy's Donuts a corporation and to monetize it somehow. And so we've been able to do that. And so it's definitely, if you guys don't have a journal or a notepad or a vision board, like you said, I highly, highly recommend it. It's so important to see what you inspire to do. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely love that. My phone is my notes too. It's funny. The book I just published is one of 3 in a trilogy, and it's hilarious that majority of the book, it's like almost a 300-page book, right? It's a novel. And I wrote it on my phone on notes because these ideas would just come to me at random times. So just like write it down and like kind of formulate it, and then afterwards go transfer it on like a Word doc or something. So I definitely feel
cool. I need to read your book.
No, that would be amazing. Yeah, it's called A Memory, and it kind of is full of, it's a fiction story, but it's full of a lot of good takes for inspiration and motivation, because that's who I am. And, you know, given the title, it's got a lot to do about looking back on the positives and deciding to do a positive thing as return, and like appreciate the memories, but to learn from the hard times and the good times.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I know your
Love
book,
that.
we need an autobiography and like a nonfiction type film of you and your life. That I can see that in the horizon. Just saying.
Definitely. No, I think you're in the right direction for sure.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, I'd be honored if you did read my book. That'd be amazing.
No, I promise I will. I absolutely will.
I definitely want some feedback from you, because like I said, I take your words as silver apples on golden platter. So.
Oh my God. You have some really good quotes. You got a lot of quotes in that head.
Well, I know. I mean, likewise. It's kind of something we have in common here.
That's true.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's kind of cool to have bouncing back and forth too, and to kind of learn more and add to, you know, the list of quotes. I do that as well. I take a lot of notes with quotes that I like, and that's why I share them on the daily. Another one that spoke to me, in hopes that in sharing it, that it will speak to someone else. And I've gotten messages, DMs back on Instagram saying like, wow, I needed to hear this, or you really turned my day around by sharing this. And it's just like awesome to share.
That's the best.
Yeah, other people's hearts, and even your own. I got a message when I put your the one that I quoted for you, be a fan of you, and it's like I really need to hear that. I was doubting myself. So it's amazing to be able to do that. Love quotes.
Me too.
So the next question, goes back to what we were talking about with riding bikes, we were with Madison going down the street, good old Shamong. So you're always a fun, positive person. Like you said, the class clown, always make people laugh and smile. So now, besides the fitness, besides, Smackdown, besides everything that has to do with your career, what is like your downtime hobbies you like to do?
I am, since I built my house this last year, I am such a homebody.
Congratulations on
when
that,
I'm not working. Thank you. I love to just lay by my pool, work out in my gym, watch a good Netflix series. I'm obsessed with like just being like, I'm the kind of person like I'll wake up, I'll do my stuff I have to do for Demandies, I'll do my stuff I have to do for wrestling, I'll work out, I'll get everything done. And then once I'm done, I'm content with being a bum because I know that everything I needed to get done is done. And so I love just like making a pizza, sitting on the couch, watching Netflix for a few hours, and just completely just a mindless activity where I can let my forever going brain just relax. So yeah, I'll pour a glass of wine and just watch a Netflix series and just chill. Also, bike rides are like key to my sanity.
Oh man,
I probably ride my bike. Oh my God, it's nothing has changed. How funny!
You gotta come out here and take a bike ride down the Amalfi Coast, and then.
My God, I would love that. We have
I'll host
to do
you.
that.
I'll get you some of this amazing Chianti out here. Some amazing wine in Italy.
Oh my God, we are gonna make that happen. I swear.
100%. We better.
Yeah, it's the best. Riding your bike is just so like mindless. I don't know. I just love just relaxing and I always go a different route so I can like check out a new part of my new neighborhood, and yeah, it's just great.
No, yeah, it's such a good workout too. Endorphins going, but you're relaxing at the same time. You're still burning calories and stuff. It's like my clients are like,
exactly. It's like
it's great. Ride a bike. That's awesome. So I'm glad to know you haven't given up that pastime. That's amazing. So when you come to the
that's so funny. Yeah,
what were you saying? It's so funny.
We used to ride our bikes everywhere.
We really, like you said, Wawa. Speaking of which, I was talking to someone the other day, and I was like, I really want a Wawa hoagie. They're like, first of all, what is a hoagie? And are you like baby talk right now? What is Wawa? So it's kind of funny.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
No one out here like knows what I'm talking about, but I do miss the bike rides.
I bet.
It's so good. Every time I come home, that's the first place I go.
Yes, go to.
It is. So the next question I got for you. So you and Mandy Rose have been real life best friends since day one, WWE, and recently you had an intense split, and now you're kind of looking to make a name for yourself as a solo competitor. So how overall do you feel about that?
Well, she was my best friend. Now she's just a thorn in my side. So I am ready to spread my wings and fly. And, Sonya has always wanted to be a solo competitor. She always knew what she was capable of on her own. But that being said, she also learned a lot from working with Paige and Mandy in the past. And so she learned what kind of to do and what not to do. And so I think now is the point in her career where she's more confident than she's ever been. She's more knowledgeable of the game than she's ever been. And she's ready to be the star now. She doesn't want to be second fiddle anymore. It's her time to be the star. So I feel great about it.
Hell yeah. And that's the way I look at Sonya. Like, she's like that badass baby Guillemot. She steps up to the edge on that high cliff and she's like, I'm going to jump. I don't care. I'm going to jump and spread my wings and I'm going to make it. That's awesome.
That pretty much explains it.
That's such a badass. So the last three questions I got, I kind of want to keep this as a motif moving forward when I interview people asking the same kind of questions. So the first of these three, just quick little ones. So let's just say someone told you by some kind of magic that you could change one thing in the world. It could be absolutely anything. What would you change, if anything at all?
Inequality, whether it be because of gender, sexuality, race, religion. I hate inequality, and maybe it's the Libra in me on the balance scale, but I I hate to see inequality. I hate bullying. I hate
Yes.
knowing that there's abuse out there in so many different forms. I just can't stand it. So yeah, inequality.
That's amazing. Yeah, I was just talking to my client yesterday. I was training her. She's married, and her and her wife have this really adorable little boy. He's like so cute. He'll come to the workouts and stuff. I'll give him like little routines to do. It's hilarious. But anyway, so she was telling me her story, her background about her struggles with coming out, and her family kind of disowned her. It was heartbreaking for me. I'm a Capricorn, so I love traditional values, but in the sense where I'm traditional to my own core values and beliefs, and I'm 100% like absolutely can't stand any kind of prejudice. And we had this huge discussion. I'm like, all right, we got to get back to working out. We're just getting so deep into talking about this, and I was just so inspired by her and how she just kept going. And now she's married, she's got a child, she's kicking ass in life, and she transcended all those biases and those prejudices. And part of her dream is to give back, and she wants to start something to kind of like combat that, which your answer kind of like led me to that memory. It's just amazing.
Yeah,
Absolutely. That's a good answer. I 100% agree. It should be obliterated. So the next question, if you knew everyone in the entire world right now, every ear was listening to this conversation in this moment, what would be the one thing, if they couldn't hear anything else, what would be the one takeaway?
It's so vital to believe in yourself, even when nobody else does.
Absolutely. That's an exceptional answer right there too. And it's exactly streamlined with this entire conversation. You've kept to that. So that's an amazing response. I like that. Pondering that right now. That's great. So the last question, what does your daily routine look like? So being a coach, I can't stress this enough to all my clients and friends, anyone that asks, no matter where they are in their lives, it's good to have a solid daily routine. It's so important. How you start your day often determines how the rest of it will go. Could you share with me some of the core things you do on the day-to-day that you just can't go a single morning without doing?
Yeah. So obviously in quarantine is a little bit different than normal day-to-day.
Right.
But my quarantine scheduling right now is I wake up, I'll have my coffee. I try to finish an entire bottle of water before I start my workout, because I try to drink like almost a gallon a day. So I have to like make sure with my morning coffee, I get at least, 16 ounces in, or else I'll never finish by nighttime. So I try to get a bottle of water in. I have my coffee. I relax on my couch, maybe for like 45 minutes to an hour. Then I will drink my BCAAs while I start my cardio usually. And then I'll usually get into like a weight workout. And then done working out, sometimes I'll go out by my pool and put my yoga mat down and do like a little meditation or a little yoga and stretching. And then I'll shower and do whatever kind of business I have to get done. So I'll, if I'm trying to study wrestling and come up with new moves or new spots and stuff, then I'll watch some wrestling, or I'll do my merchandising line demandees from upstairs and do some shipping and mailing. Grocery store is like a natural thing I do like almost every day now,
That's exactly how it is here too.
Yeah, and then I'll lay by my pool, go for a bike ride, and then like my chill time sets in. Like usually about 5 or 6 o'clock, I'm like done. I'm like, okay, I'm not doing anything else too productive for the day. I'm gonna just make some dinner, chill on my couch, relax, glass of wine. And so that's kind of how I structure my days, just so I feel good about myself. I have a little bit of structure and routine, but I don't kill myself with routine, because I do like to do my own thing sometimes. But whatever I'm feeling, I listen to my body a lot too. Like if I wake up and I'm so sore, I'll be like, all right, Daria, like just go for a bike ride and call it a day, because you don't want to overdo it. And but at the same time, if I'm just being lazy, then I'm like, okay, now you have to work out because you're just being lazy today.
Right.
So, you know,
Yeah.
it's important to push yourself when you don't want to. So
Absolutely. Every time, so sometimes my clients, I get on them about this stuff, like, oh, I'm having a bad day. And I'm like, well, did you do this? Did you do that? I'm literally going to replay this and be like, hey, you heard it from the best. All right. So you better get on it, stick to it. I know I'm biased. I'm your coach. Sometimes you don't want to hear it from me, but take it from the superstar.
it's more important. It's more important to work out on the days you don't feel like working out than it is to work out on the days you do feel like working out, because that's where the mental strength is built, and that's where the consistency is built, and the work ethic is. And my mom always says, I'll be like on the phone with my mom because I talk to her like every day, and I'm like, oh, I really don't feel like working out right now, and she's like, but you're gonna, because you always do. And I'm like, yep, I always do, so I'm gonna go work out now. You know, like, it's really important to be consistent, like we said, and have that kind of discipline. Self-discipline is really important.
That's amazing. No, I love you call your mom all the time. I'm extremely connected with, my parents, my brothers especially. We call it the wolf pack. We got like a daily talk. Yeah, it's same with you.
So cute.
Yeah, we get cute about it, sharing some little daily inspirations and whatnot. So I love that you.
That's good.
Yeah, I love that you stick to it, and it is important. It's kind of like, laying out in the sun. Even though the sun may not be shining, it's a cloudy day, you still can get tan. It's still shining. The same thing. If you don't feel like it, you're at least putting the effort in. You're gonna keep the results going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that is all the questions that I have for you, and I can't express how grateful I am for you taking the time out of your schedule, regardless quarantine or not, to get on this talk and to share such amazing insight, inspiration, your story, your dreams. You've motivated me. I know for absolute certain you're going to motivate every single person that listens to this. And I am super excited to share it and to let the rays of positivity just emanate. You know what I mean?
Thank you so much, Joe. You're such a sweetheart, and I miss you. And next time we're in Italy wrestling, because we wrestle in Italy all the time, we have to link up. Yeah,
no, absolutely. It's a fact. It's a fact. We got the bikes, the wine.
We're going to make it happen.
Absolutely. No, I miss you too, Darius. We definitely got to connect when you're here, when I'm back in the States. All the way, I got lots of family in Florida, so we're definitely making it happen.
You got to come over. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your night down there in the Sunshine State.
You too, Joe. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Talk to you soon. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
There's your Italian. Look, I love it. Buonanotte.
That's it. That's all you get. Bye.
Exactly. All right, bye.